Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy sunny Thursday. It's episode 64. It's the Real Deal Pod. And it's myself, Allister Carrington, and my main man, Geoff Lee, back here with you guys. So excited to be here with you guys to share some exciting news and exciting information today and to be with you guys on this sunny day. My goodness, it's been a great week. I hope you guys have all been enjoying it. Geoff, my man, how you been enjoying the week?
You know what? I've had such a busy last 14 days.
Yeah,
It just seems a whirlwind, and I think I'm burned out, to be quite honest with you. I'm tired. I'm tired.
really?
Rejuvenating. Rejuvenating.
Man, well, that's what you got to do while you did that big, massive fondue thing that you did. And then
Fondue.
fondue, not fondue. Fondue is the
Fondue
stuff
is
to
like
eat.
cheese and chocolate.
Right, fondue. You did that thing, right? And you like work sounds like it's been pretty hectic. You do, man. You and the girlfriend, you guys need to take some time just to sit back and relax and chill, man.
Yeah. I'm planning on doing the RBC Whistler Fondo. So I just need to find a riding companion. I know there's going to be thousands of people that are already registered, but I just anybody on our pod listening, if you want to do the Fondo, the RBC Fondo with me, give me a call. Let's do it.
Wow. I'd offer my services, but I'm old and injured. I don't think I can do it. So
Hey, if you're old and injured, as far as injuries, biking is the best thing for your joints, Alistair.
is it? Are you? Is it? See,
Low
I'm
impact. Low
no, no,
impact.
no. I know it's low impact. Low impact. That's why I walk instead of run now. I used to run. Now the running's bad for my is super bad for my back now. But I also swim because swimming I've always felt was the I've always thought that was the best, not just the best cardio, but the best workout just for all of your muscles.
Yeah.
Because I know when I get out of the pool, I know I've used some muscles that I forgot that were even there.
It's
Right?
crazy though, like to me, like when you speak to high level athletes, and again, you played university football, but
Yeah.
it's crazy on how high level athletes' bodies just get purely punished when as they get older, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just like so I'm glad I was never a high level athlete, and my body is still knock on wood is still functioning well. So
Well, that's the thing, eh? Because when we're younger, we always joke around, your body's malleable, right? It just bounces, right? We're not old yet. Nothing gets stiff and nothing breaks. So what happens to us that were athletes is that we put that malleableness, right? We put it to its test,
yeah,
right? Right? You work out till your body is physically breaking down. That's how much we work out, right? So it builds up bigger and stronger.
yeah,
But you're literally pushing yourself to body fail
yeah.
every single day. For us in football, right? Your season would start in summer camp would start in June. You're doing two-a-days, right? Two practices per day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, right? Then you're hitting the gym and you're doing all that. Then you have the season in starting in October that will run you all the way through into November, right? And if you think about it, it's high impact. You're running into each other and colliding at 60 miles an hour. That's actually the impact speed.
Kilometers, not miles.
No, it's miles. No, it's
Really?
miles. Yeah, it's
Wow.
miles, not kilometers. No, it's miles. Yeah.
Well, when the
No, this,
inertia,
yeah, the inertia. Yeah. No, no, it's not kilometers. It's miles. That's
like you guys
how.
run 60 miles per hour? Wow.
Yeah, no, no, no. We don't run that. No, no, we don't even run 60 clicks an hour. No, no, no. But yeah, the inertia that's hit is measured in miles per hour. It's 60
Wow.
miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they've always said. A football player, when you're getting hit, it's like running into a brick wall. It's like hitting a brick wall at 60 miles per hour. So if you think about that, you're doing that to yourself for a good eight, like 7 months out of the 7 months out of the year, and you're pushing yourself to fail. That's why the body just, by the time we do hit 35, it's not looking as great as what it was when we were in our mid-teens and 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, for me though, I'm not real. I got some showings this weekend again. So to the point of needing to kind of relax and recharge, it's been a busy last little bit. I've had a lot of showings and stuff like that. Closed out my client's condo. We've just sold it. So congratulations to them. So yeah, so same thing. Needed some time to just sit back and relax and just I like to sit in gratefulness. So that's one of the things, and sit in gratitude. So that's one of the things I'm excited to do this weekend is just take a step back and really just sit in some gratitude of, the sunshine and where we live and, just everything around us. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm quite excited.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So let's get into it and let's kick it off as always with podcasts hottest segment. It is
64 pods.
64, man, episode 64, and we're kicking it off again with podcast hottest segment, and that is
Did You Know?
Did you know? So, Geoff, this is an interesting did you know, because I didn't realize this actually.
So basically, you didn't know.
No, I didn't know. This is a did you know that I didn't know, right? So Canada's population boom has just hit a pause, and as we've all noted, Vancouver's real estate market is already feeling it. So Metro Vancouver developers are seeing pre-sale condo demand drop by over 50%. And of course, they're reacting like someone just unplugged the espresso machine. Quiet panic, but with spreadsheets. It's not just the real estate cycle, though. It's actually policy catching up to pressure. So after a decade of policies that overheated demand, the federal Liberals have finally acknowledged the obvious. In May, they said that they'll start bringing down overall immigration rates to sustainable levels. A polite way of saying, yeah, oops, we've done a little bit too much. But it's not just the Liberals. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre recently called for severe limits on population growth, saying it's the only way to restore balance to jobs, social services, and housing. So naturally now, this is sending developers into an existential crisis mode. Many are now openly pushing for a return of foreign buyers, despite the fact that most analysts say this is all just part of a regular market cycle. Meanwhile, StatsCan just dropped 2 new reports that peel back some layers. From 2006 to 2021, rising immigration was linked to a 21% increase in home prices in 53 major Canadian cities.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one thing I didn't know. Here's the other one. Immigrants own more homes per capita than Canadian-born residents. 310 versus 271 per 1,000 people. Right? So here's the kicker. The data only counts permanent residents, not the tidal wave of temporary residents, students, or work permit holders that also competed for housing. So this has now become more than a blip. It's actual structural tension that's showing up in the prices, demand, and political platforms. So what do you think about that? That's a pretty interesting fact that I did not know in terms of where the housing increase took place. So that's actually a significant factor, 06 to 21, driving a 21% increase due to immigration.
2006 to 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you note, those numbers are, of course, just before the pandemic, because you have to erase that, because we all know that the pandemic artificially increased prices as well, right? So the only way you can really look at normal numbers is to, unfortunately, you have to go before that now, right? So that's a 21% increase due to immigration in pricing. That's crazy.
That's not including pre-COVID, or that is including pre-COVID?
That's not including. Yeah. So 2006 to 2021, That 21% increase in home prices was attributed to immigration, not COVID. Yeah, immigration. And then to know that per capita, because per capita is always done per 1,000 people, right? 310 immigrants own homes versus 271 Canadian-born people. Wow, that's some wild numbers. And so it's interesting, though, that developers now, though, are saying, because they're trying to reduce that number back and trying to get Canadians back into owning, right? It's interesting now that developers are saying, no, we need foreign buyers back into the market.
So when you're saying immigrants, Alistair, are we talking Canadian immigrants, or are we talking foreign buyers, or a combination of the both?
Well, no. So what they're talking about was permanent immigrants. Okay. People that had their permanent residency was in this report. But what they didn't take into account in this report was the people on work visas, was temporary residents, and student visas. Right.
So those numbers would have even increased.
Would have even increased. Yeah. So this is just based on permanent residency. So that's astounding.
Well, and then you take a look at what's been mandated with, and I know this, we're not talking about the foreign buyers ban, but even limitation of immigration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you actually say that, and when you really think about where our housing market is and where our immigration is and its policies, I think it's just another ingredient to that, or another piece to that puzzle as far as when people are asking why.
Right. As to why, what's creating this tension, right? There is, like we said, it's not really a blip in the market. This is we're dealing with structural tensions, right? Just literally based on governmental policies that were put in place about a decade ago, decades ago, that are now really bubbling to the surface, right? And now people are just starting to realize, but never had an understanding of them before.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good
it's pretty wild. So it's going to be interesting to see, like they've said, there's already been a commitment from Carney's office, from the Liberal government, to reduce immigration levels. Right. The Conservatives are wanting them to reduce them even more than what they've even committed to. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see where the private sector factors in when it comes into real estate, when they're saying, if we're not letting people come in and this is all going to, the purchasing is all going to come from our people, that has already shown to hamper developers. Yeah, right. But we already see it now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be an interesting again, next 4 years, right? This is going to be an interesting thing.
And this is where I go. It's always like policy and procedure is always a good thing when it's thought out. And again, let's be honest. A lot of this policy is thought out in the war rooms. It's not like, they just get it from.
They'll just pick it out of the air.
Hey, let's do this. So there is a lot of thought, and there is a lot of process that goes into it, and there's a lot of intelligent people that are agreeing to what is being put forth, right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see, when there's studies that show after a certain amount of years or from that policy, as far as the impact that it has. And in this case, and in a lot of cases, it's not the impact that they were expecting, right?
Yeah. And that will always, and I don't want to use the word criticism, because unfortunately in government, you can't get around it. So it's not, I don't believe they're doing it on purpose. We're a victim of the machine, is what, in terms of what I'm going to say, is when you're making policy in government, you're always reactionary. It's always reactionary. And the reason being is your term is only guaranteed for 4 years.
Unless you're in the US.
Unless you're in the US, yeah. But even in the US, it's reactionary. And the reason being is because your term is only guaranteed for 4 years, right? So you can't put in proactive policies because you don't know if your government is going to be able to be there to see them through. So everything always ends up being reactionary and thought of in the short term, thought of within a 4-year time frame. So that's why when these studies come out 8 years down the road, you see all the damage that was done. Not damage, I hate to say that word because it's not intentional damage, right? Everything is being done from the now, from the good. And I'd like to give all of these leaders the benefit of the doubt that if they did have the way to make proactive policies that would benefit us and be able to take into account, hey, what is this going to look like 10 years down the road? How is this going to look? They would make better decisions, right? They would make more accurate decisions, I guess I could say, right? More well thought out decisions, right? Than the ones that they make right now, because like we were just saying, these are intelligent people. They're not just grabbing these ideas out of thin air and saying, hey, let's try this. They're making well thought out decisions. These are decisions that are talked upon for a year. It's not just like they decide to sit around the table one day, say, okay, we're going to do this, right? So if they weren't a victim of just the 4-year term, knowing that that's really all they have, if they're lucky, they'll get another 4 after that, right? Then maybe we could have policies that were better thought out, right? But again, when we have competing parties always with their own agenda, you're never going to see one person's agenda follow through, one person's vision follow through, right? So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man. So what do you got for us today, buddy?
Well, again, gentle reminder, come July 30th is our next Bank of Canada meeting.
Yeah.
What's your thought process on that?
Man, I gotta say, I'm the wait and see on this one. Before I was always the optimist, we're gonna drop a quarter. I can see a drop in a quarter, just continuing to, help Canadians, but do it easily. But now when we look at the unemployment report that just came out, and what was the level? I think we were up 1.6%. Like, I think we went up 1.6%. I just don't think they're going to do it. I just think that they're going to put a pause and then the tariffs. So one of the things I was going to actually do for Did You Know, it was a tariff talk actually about how the tariffs are impacting Vancouver, or ourselves in British Columbia and Washington, right? On how the copper tariffs are significantly hurting our two places the most out of anybody in Canada and in the United States. So just because of these tariffs, just because of the unemployment that was just let out by our reporting, I honestly think it's going to stay the same. I don't think they're going to drop it, but I'm going to be the wait and see.
Yeah.
I think. What do you think?
I think a lot of people will agree with that. And I was talking to, again, a friend of mine, and I don't think this is really have a large contribution to it, but he was even, it's always interesting asking people's opinions, because you have a whole array of an opinion, and some are right, some are of opinion, some are way off base. But I guess that's why they're calling an opinion. But yeah, he was just mentioning, is like, I don't think things are going to move, and just because they were, again, this is his opinion. Rates were coming down. This was supposed to stimulate the market. It hasn't stimulated the market. It continued to go down. Then it was supposed to stimulate the market. The market's not being stimulated. So why are they going to go down? It's not doing what they want it to do. So his opinion is, until things get a little bit more stable with tariffs, things get more stable, just, not worldwide, Canada wide.
Yeah.
And then once that becomes a little bit more on solid ground, then we might see rates continue to go down, or the prime rate to continue to go down. But his thought process was, hey, it hasn't worked to what they thought it was going to work. So again, I don't think they're going to do it now, because again, housing is soft, the market is soft. the whole idea was to stimulate buying. It hasn't been working for 2025. I think they're just going to leave things the same for now.
Right. So it's almost like you when we talk to sellers about chasing the market down, right? Like why are like the rate the feds are chasing the rate down, right? Trying to stimulate, trying to get the market moving, right? By chasing the rate down.
Yeah.
Right. So I never thought of that from your friend's perspective. That's a good point of if it's not doing its intended purpose, why are we just going to continually arbitrarily decreasing a rate? Right. It's not achieving its intended purpose. Right.
Yeah.
So if you leave it, once things start to happen, then we'll come back and revisit it.
Yeah.
But why chase the rate down? Right? Why chase?
And I don't think that's, always the reason why our prime rate goes down, right? It's again, there's a lot of ingredients to that pie. And we've talked about it before as like, what is our inflation rate? What is our unemployment rate? What is the cost of goods? Like what is, like, it's not just one thing, but again, always really interesting to get an opinion of people outside of ourselves, because he could have that opinion and a true economist would be like, what's this guy talking about? Right. Yeah. But again, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it really does. It really does. And like I said, I had all of the tariff like stuff that I'd read and that formed my opinion. And I didn't even take into account just that one thing of not chasing a rate down. Right. And and again, you kind of said when you said economists might think he's crazy. I on the other hand, was thinking to myself, if an economist said that's crazy, I would tell that economist that they're crazy for disputing that. Right.
Well, have you ever heard my saying, the only thing economists agree on is nothing?
Nothing. Exactly. Yeah. And it's the exact truth. It's the exact truth. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, man. So yeah.
And then outside of that, I just wanted to kind of touch on renewals. As we've talked about in the past, by the end of 2026, we are going to see 8 out of 10 mortgages renewing. So what that really means is 80% of people's mortgages are going to be renewing here by the end of 2026. And I just wanted to kind of resurface and have that conversation going again in regards to, what to do when your renewal is coming up, what to be prepared for as far as payment shock, because a lot of these people are coming out of 2% mortgages. And now rates are in those low fours, those low to mid fours. And I wanted to say, hey, like, this is not you, it's 80% of Canadians that are out there. What is the strategy moving forward when you are going to come up for renewal? Because again, we've talked about this before, is that 7 out of 10 Canadians will simply renew with their existing lender because they either don't know that they have options, they don't know that they're actually able to do it, they don't have the ability to do it because maybe there's job loss, maybe there's actually credit issues. But I always say is that, it's really, really important to know your options when you're coming up for a renewal, because you do have options. 7 out of 10 Canadians, 7 out of 10 people there are simply going to renew with their lender because they don't know better. And I jokingly say 6 out of 10 of those people that are renewing, 6 out of those 7 that are renewing with their lender are not getting the best rate, right? Or they're not going through a really good analysis as far as where your debts are and how can we possibly restructure this consumer debt. I just worked on a file, Allister. We stuck $2,600 a month back into these clients' pocket as far as what they were spending out each and every month. Their renewal came up. We did a restructure of their consumer debt, and we were able to put $2,600 a month in this family's pocket with the children of 3. Like,
that's
what
crazy.
would you do if somebody was going to give you $2,600 a month just by restructuring something that you were already doing?
I cook you dinner, Geoff. Thanks. I cook you dinner, man, and I'm a good cook.
Hey, that's $30,000 a year.
I know, man. That's
savings.
amazing. That's
That's
amazing.
$150,000 over the next 5 years
5 years.
by restructuring a debt based on a renewal that was coming up. And to be honest, they should have probably done it 1 or 2 years earlier.
Right.
But yeah, again, if they didn't ask the questions, or not even if they didn't ask the questions, because it was simply, hey, my mortgage is coming for renewal. What is the best rate? If it wasn't simply us having that opportunity to kind of open up that onion and say, okay, what does your consumer debt look like? How much equity do you have in your home? What is your total monthly debt that you're paying now? And what can we get it to if we restructure? Right. And this again was from a conversation that, hey, my mortgage is coming up for renewal in November. I just want, what rate can you get me? It wasn't like, hey, I want to consolidate consumer debt. Like, how much money can I save by doing a consumer, like doing a restructure on my debt? It was just like, hey, what rate can you get on my renewal? And that was it. So as we got a hold of it and we took a look at it, I was like, hey, we can save you $2,600 a month. Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah. And so that's amazing. And that's why I'm so glad we're doing this. And it's funny because another did you know, I was going to do it, but I was like, this is not my lane. This is going to be Geoff's lane. And it was off of an article that I was reading. And it was talking about how trigger rates were quietly resurfacing and they're catching homeowners off guard. And they were talking about how in BC, many homeowners with variable rate mortgages are quietly brushing up against or exceeding their trigger rates. And it was especially the ones that bought between 2021 and 2023 when the rates were low.
So let's explain what a trigger rate is.
That's what I was going to ask you to do. Yeah. So yeah.
So trigger rates is, say, for example, you got your variable rate mortgage at prime less 1.1. And then your prime rate continued to increase for whatever reason. And remember, our prime rate increased 8 times in 11 months in 2023, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And what then happens is that as the interest rate or as the prime rate is going up to what you were contracted to, more of that monthly payment is going towards the interest and none is going towards the principal. So as that time happens, you then will get a phone call from your lender and saying, hey, actually your mortgage payment, 99% of it is going towards the interest, none is going towards the principal. You've now hit your trigger point. Now we have to readjust your mortgage payment in order to kind of get everything back in line. So lenders like TD, they have a static variable rate mortgage payment. And what that simply means is that if you got your variable rate at 3% and now that variable rate is at 5%, your monthly payment is still based on that 3%, but it's just reallocated to what's going towards the principal, to what's going towards the interest. Whereas Scotiabank or other banks, they have what they call an adjustable variable rate mortgage, which means that their payment moves up or down depending on what the prime rate is doing at each and every Bank of Canada meeting. So if you're in an adjustable variable rate, meaning that your payment moves every time the Bank of Canada moves the prime rate, you're not hitting a trigger point or a trigger rate, right? Because your payment is always moving up or down depending on what the prime rate is doing. Unlike a static variable rate mortgage, such as a TD, your payment remains the same regardless of if the prime rate is moving up or down. And again, when we're talking about trigger rates and trigger points, trigger rate, because that payment isn't moving, more of that payment, or at some point that payment is going towards all of interest, nothing towards the principal. And now you're getting a phone call to say, hey, we need either a lump sum payment or this is what your payments are going to be, but we need to bring things back in line. And I think this comes to your read is that we're starting to see that again.
Yeah. So yeah, and I just like that it's all kind of fitting together, because this is again, to your point, we're at that point, and you're busy all the time, renewing all these things. So go on. I didn't want to interrupt, but go on.
Well, no, that's an awesome question. But again, what I was going back to and just kind of sum it up is that, if you have a mortgage, there's a strong likelihood that your mortgage is coming up for renewal here by 2026.
Yeah.
If you have a mortgage, there's a strong likelihood that you're simply going to renew it with your existing lender because you don't know any different.
Right.
And if that's you, there's a strong likelihood that you are not going to get the sharpest rate. And the reality of it is your rate is probably going to be double to what you're actually paying now, right? So there's going to be that payment shock, depending on what your mortgage size is, right?
Right.
So if you have a mortgage in Vancouver, you have a mortgage in Victoria, you have a mortgage in Toronto, you have a mortgage in these types of areas, you're going to get a payment shock. And if you're not properly prepared for that and what that's going to look like, and or your consumer debt is way out of line, this could be a tough time for you. Now, the reality of it is, Alistair, one thing that us Canadians do, even though
Pay our
it's
mortgage.
going to be a huge payment shock, they're going to pay their mortgage, right?
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
thing that Canadians do is that they
Yeah.
will pay their mortgage. But I just thought it was a good opportunity to say, hey, I think a lot of our listeners, if you're here in Canada, your mortgage is coming up for renewal. Make sure that you shop that mortgage around. Make sure that you are getting the sharpest rate. Make sure that if you have any consumer debt and if there's equity in the home, that you do a debt restructure, because in doing so, even though that your mortgage payment might be higher and your rate is higher, if you can overall do a debt restructure on your consumer debt, you actually might be coming out ahead versus behind after we do everything properly.
Yeah. No, remind me, wasn't there a rule, and I thought we spoke about it like on previous pod back, new rules to the lend or to lenders in terms of transparency, in terms of what the lowest rate should be, like that, so that your current guy, should be giving you the lowest rate rather than you having to sit there and go, what is my lowest rate? Wasn't there some rules that kind of went into some sort of effect?
The reality of it is, Alistair, is mortgages, banks, credit unions, they're in the game of doing business. If you
Yeah.
take a look at quarterly profit earnings of banks and credit unions and really any financial lender, they're in hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And the reality of it is, it is a business. So sure, there may be guidelines and rules and regulations that have been implemented. The reality of it is we get calls every day on mortgage renewals, and every time, or I'm not going to say every time, but a large amount of time, we're always getting better rates than what the existing lender is giving them, because existing lenders, I'm not going to say prey is a wrong word, but existing lenders understand that the majority of their mortgages are going to be renewed with the rates that are going to be offered. They're not going to ask questions, right? But I also find that Canadians are getting smarter, right? And I think because of pods like ours and blogs that are written and other pods and chat GPT and everything else that's fallen, we as Canadians are getting smarter to say, hey, I actually do have an option here. Hey, I don't have to go with this lender, if my existing lender, if I don't want to. And that actually is a testament as far as is moving that 7 out of 10 people are simply renewing, because a lot of our business this year has been renewals and has been educating our clients into, like, hey, your lender may give you the best rate, likelihood they're not, but let's kind of navigate down that road. Let's see if they're going to. And I'm going to say 8 out of 10 times we're always able to do better. And it's not because their existing lender is unable to. So back to your comment about regulation and guidelines and transparency, it's not that they're unable to, is that they're just not doing it until they know that they're going to lose it. And then all of a sudden they're going to come to the table and say, hey, Alistair, you've been with us for 10 years or 5 years or 15 years or 20 years or whatever. In fact, the longer you are, the more likelihood that you're not going to move, the more likelihood you're not going to be getting the greatest renewal rate because you're comfortable. But we are starting to see people asking those questions, and they're benefiting from it, right?
No, and that's why I wanted to ask that question about the rules around transparency and all that sort of stuff, because we both know that they did, right? The thing is, we both know that they won't. And the reason is it's capitalism, right? They have to make money. They have to stay in business. They have to go with the majority. This statistically, like we just said, the majority of people will just renew, right, at whatever rate that's given to them. They're not doing anything wrong. That's just behaviorally, they're just following people's behaviors. You put this in front of them, people will take it. It's the same thing as I say when you're with Rogers or Telus. Right? When you sign up with your Rogers, or before that was Shaw, when you sign up with them initially, they give you this amazing deal. And then they literally tell you that that deal is going to go away after the end of the contract, and you are now going to pay full price.
Yeah.
That's all. But they know because you're comfortable, you're just going to stay and continue to pay it rather than shop your wares to the other party to get that cheap deal and then go back. Right. So go ahead.
I also think that, there's a trust factor in there that people are having a tough time trusting that. Are you sure that there's something that doesn't seem quite right? Like for me, it's all about convenience. Like the reason why I don't move a lot of times is because it's convenience. Like, oh, you mean I gotta give you a job letter, I gotta give you a pay stub. Like, I don't want to do that. I got to requalify. I don't got time for that. But it's just like, hey, like if you don't got time to save yourselves thousands and thousands of dollars per year, that's on you, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's why I just, like I was going to say, people that say, oh, they won't, or no, they're going to give me the best rate because they have to follow the rules. I don't like when people fall into that. So that's why I always want to make sure that we state, yes, there's rules to be followed. And yes, these entities should be following these rules. Are they following these rules? 90% of the time, no. So that's why I always want people to make sure that they don't rely on the fact that these companies have guidelines that they're supposed to follow so that they know, so that now they feel that they're being treated fairly and appropriately. That's not the case, right? So that's the importance of the power team, as we always come back to saying, is a true power team is going to tell you, make sure you're asking those questions, right?
Yeah.
Don't be lazy, right? If it's crazy to me to say, hey, we can save you $30,000 a year, $150,000 a year over the course of 5 years, and then to say, I'm comfortable. I don't want to give a pay stub. I don't want to do this. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
And even if it's $500 a month.
I was going to say, I use the extreme.
$6,000 a year, right? And $30,000 over a course of 5 years.
5 years.
Right? Like, that's $6,000 a year.
Well, that's exactly it. Think about what you could invest that in to grow, right? What you could have taken that $30,000 over the course of 5 years, if you would have put that in investment to allow it to grow for you, what that was going to grow for you. It's crazy.
A lot of times people will say, well, I can't qualify because of the stress test. It's really important, folks, to understand that if your mortgage is coming up for a renewal,
right,
and you are not, and here's the time where you're not trying to access the equity, you're just renewing, all the terms and conditions are remaining the same. We can take that to another lender. Yes, you do have to requalify, you do have to do all that fun stuff, but you don't have to stress test, right? Depending on where that mortgage is coming from, actually. So remember, when the stress test came into effect, that affected people's purchase power by 25%, right? At the time, it took a lot of people out of the market. But when we're doing it, what we call a transfer or a switch or a renewal, which simply means you're moving your current mortgage under the same terms and conditions as they currently are, and you're just moving up from one lender to the next, you still need to requalify when you do that, but you don't have to stress test it when you do that. So that's one of the new rules that the Bank of Canada has introduced to try to give Canadians more options at the time of renewal.
Yeah, and I thought that was a huge one. I remember when we talked that, I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing that I want people to remember. And I've said this probably 6 times now. Your mortgage, if you have one, is likely coming up for renewal.
Yeah.
If that is, make sure you start your renewal process as far as shopping for the sharpest rates 4 to 6 months before your renewal happens. Lenders will come back to you. Your existing lender will come back to you and say, hey, Allister, your mortgage is coming up for renewal here in 5 months. But if you renew early at this rate, now you're not going to have a penalty in doing so. Again, guys, you're not going to have a penalty when you renew your mortgage with a new lender either, because it renews on the same day, or that new mortgage will complete on the same day that your old mortgage renews. There is no penalty in there. But again, it's a sales tactic. It's a fear tactic that basically banks, every bank does it, every lender does it, to say, hey, if you renew now, Allister, and if you renew at this rate now, Allister, you're not going to have a penalty.
You'll avoid penalties. Yeah.
The other thing too, folks, is if you have the ability to do lump sum payments, make sure you do that as you can. Now, again, some lenders you can do prepayment or lump sum payments throughout the calendar year, providing it's $100 or more. Some other lenders, you have to do it on the anniversary date. So again, if you have the ability to pay down your mortgage, make sure that you do that before the renewal. If you have the ability and you're thinking about, or not if you have the ability, but if you have a large amount of consumer debt, or not even a large amount, if you have any consumer debt that you're paying over, say, 5%, that is a good conversation to have it restructured into a refinance. Worked on this file, same file with these folks that we saved them $2,600. Oh, I don't want to touch my truck payment of $1,200 a month. Because it's a 0% interest loan. Okay, well, it's a 0% interest loan, but you know, if we restructured this debt into your mortgage, that $1,200 payment, you know, and how we amortize it is only going to be, and I'm just, you know, shooting numbers off, is going to be $300, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to say, well, I don't want to have a long amortization. Well, that's fair, but remember, we're saving you $2,600 a month that you're used to spending. So why don't you take that $2,600 a month and now put it towards your mortgage? Now you're reducing the amortization, but you're controlling that, right? Don't sign, if again, folks, if your mortgage is coming up for renewal, shop around.
Yes.
Please shop around, because I can tell you confidently that your renewal rate that your lender is giving you is not the best rate that's out there.
They're in the business of making money.
On it.
Yeah.
Right. So again, where I really want to leave this is you have options. Your mortgage is coming up for renewal. I know it is. If you have a mortgage, I know your mortgage is coming up for renewal here within the next year and a bit. If that's you or anybody that's in your network, friends, families, colleagues, the number one thing is have them shop it around, because I can guarantee you that your lender, your current lender, at least their first renewal rate that they're going to give you is not their best. And as soon as you start working with another lending partner or a mortgage broker, and they really start to guide you and navigate how to do a mortgage renewal properly, and we do this all the time, it's amazing on what their first renewal rate is when it comes to their second or third offering, when they know you're shopping that mortgage around.
Yeah.
And that's where awesome. I want to leave it.
That's awesome, man. Man, that was jam-packed today. That was a lot. That was good, though. No, that was good. Well, no, I mean, like, again, mortgages are coming up. Like the market's where the market's at, right? It's an interesting time right now.
I'm going to actually jump in there, and anybody out there that's shopping for a condo,
Well,
I'm telling
it's
you, right
crazy.
now is a great time for you to buy, right?
Yes.
Do
Mhm.
not wait for rates to adjust. Do not wait for the Bank of Canada to tell you that, the market is doing whatever is. I'm telling you right now, full disclosure, I'm dating a realtor. I listen to Shop Talk pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
I talk to Allister all the time. I talk to developers all the time. I talk to other realtors all the time. There are some smoking deals on condos out there.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. For buyers, it's leverage season. I think again, we've lost sight, I think, of what a buyer's market is because I think of what the seller's market looked like in COVID, right? So I think everybody's expecting that same sort of swing, let's say in this market right now for buyers. It's not from a percentage standpoint. No, it's not 45% changes in pricing. Absolutely not. But the savings are ridiculous. It is unreal the amount of leverage that buyers have right now. It's stupid, right? I I would argue it's almost too much in all honesty. And that's where my words to sellers come in. It is time for sellers to retire. We're just going to wait for the market to rebound. We're just going to sit and hold on to it, or we're just going to rent it out, and then when the market comes back, then I'm going to sell it. That is a crazy thought, you guys. It is nuts to me. If you were going to sell it in the first place, there was a reason that you were going to do so. Why would you sit there and wait for potentially another 2 years or 3 years of carrying costs or whatever you're going to do? It's nuts. Makes no sense. The argument is poor, in my opinion.
I was also gently reminded this. There is a time to hold, right? There is a
Sure.
time to hold. But if you're selling and you're also buying,
Mhm.
remember what you're selling in is what the market you're selling in is the same market you're buying in,
Right.
right? So again, people that have that frame of mind to say, "Hey, I'm going to wait for the market to correct before I sell and then I'll buy." If you take a look at the dollar cost averaging on that, it's going to be the same,
100%. Yeah,
right?
100%.
So I was gently reminded on that with another conversation I had in it, and I was like, yeah, like you know what? We forget to send that messaging a lot as well.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, hey, sure, you might not sell your place for what you want it for, but also when you sell it and you are doing a purchase at the same time, you're also getting a great deal on the purchase.
Oh
So
no, for
how much
sure.
money are you really how much money are you really losing?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. See, for me, like what I meant a lot of was like those people that put it up for sale, people that put up for sale, let it sit on the market for, 8 months, 9 months because they're trying to achieve a price that is unattainable and then just sit there, no, I don't want to reduce my price. And if I don't sell it, I'll just rent it out. That just doesn't make any sense. Why go through the preparation? Why go through the time and all that hassle of putting your property on market just to sit there and say, I'm not getting the money I want. I still think I should get more. I'm not willing to negotiate. I'm going to take it off. Then just hold it. Because to your point, there is a time to hold. You don't want to do it. But more often than not, if you are making the decision to sell in this market, you know what type of market you've entered to sell into.
Yeah.
So stick it out and understand that this is a negotiation time and that buyers have that leverage, right? And for buyers, take advantage of this time of this leverage before you do lose it. Do we know when that's going to happen? No. But the fact of the matter is, buyers have had this leverage for how long now? They've had this leverage for going on 2 years now and not using it. And at some point, that leverage is going to go away. And you know what's going to happen? Buyers are going to be sitting there crying and being upset that where did my buyer's market go, right? And that's just because people are getting are just too focused on trying to time a market.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Time a
firmly
market, you
I
wait
firmly-
yourself out of a
I
market.
firmly believe those who will enter that market now, they are going to look back in 3 years' time and they're like, you know what? I didn't want to do it, but I listened to this Real Deal pod and, something triggered me and I did it. And yeah.
So you know what's funny? Just quickly before I let us go, I picked up a new client a couple of days ago. And this client is looking at buying a condo. And it's their first time buyers. And I'm telling you, during my discovery call with them, it was almost like they listened to our pod. It's almost like they were listening to the advice, because they were telling me all of the reasons why they were getting into the market now, even though, no, I understand I'm just buying a condo right now at $450,000, but I know what that's going to do to my net worth. I know what's that going to do. They gave me every single reason on why they were purchasing. And I was like, I love you people. I don't have to tell you now. This is going to be the easiest journey I get to go through, because you understand why we're doing this, right? And so I wish everybody, I should bring them on the podcast.
Maybe that's going to be the one person then everybody's going to follow.
There it goes. But I wish everybody could have heard these people to understand that it's not that the words weren't coming from the mouth of a realtor. The words weren't coming from the mouth of a lender. It wasn't professionals telling this. It was people. It was real life people saying, look, for our future, for our well-being, for our future value, our net worth, what our children, what we're going to be able to leave for our children, what we're going to be able to do for our children, right, is all built around just buying this condo now. Mm-hmm. And it was a beautiful thing to hear. So I with that being said, I just want everybody to think about that, right? It's if you are looking to buy your first home, this is the optimal time to do it, because it's so easy. There's so much to look at. There's so much to get, right? Don't waste the time. Don't be afraid, right? If you're looking at moving into a townhome, don't be afraid, right? If you're looking at moving from a condo and hoping to move into a single family home, you guys, the gap is not there, right? So now we might have to reverse and look at the townhome, right? But that's okay. Again, you're still moving up a category. And for those that are living in townhomes, this is the absolute time to get out of your townhome and move into the detached, because the gap is the gap is so tight. So it is actually a perfect time right now that if you do own a townhome, to be able to move yourself up into a single family home. So that is what I'm saying, guys. Like the inventory is there, the ability is there, and really it's just a matter of wanting to take advantage of it. But that's it, guys. Thank you for all staying with us. This has been an amazing episode number 64. We can't wait to be back here with you guys for episode number 65. Get out there and enjoy this weekend. Oh my God, it's sunny. Tomorrow, guys, is going to be a cold day. It's going to be plus 19, but hot for the rest. I think on Sunday, it's supposed to hit 28 or 29. So everybody stay hydrated if it does hit that heat. But get out there, enjoy the weekend. Take time, guys, to love our amazing province of British Columbia. I've been spending a lot of time going out for walks and not looking down, not looking straight ahead, but intentionally looking up. And just really looking at the beauty that it is that we live in. And I'll tell you, when you spend some time doing that, the rest of your day is just so bright and so great. So make sure you guys take some time to get out there and enjoy our beautiful province, and just enjoy the fact that we live in Canada, because we live in one hell of an amazing country, you guys. I'm not going to speak about what's going on down south. They're having a rough time. So, and the only reason I say that is I've got family down there, and I talk to them a lot. And I really,
Alistair, you're not any of that. You're being.
I feel for them, but enjoy. I'm mentioning a good thing. Enjoy this beautiful province that we've got in Canada. It is amazing. So continue to love us, continue to like us, continue to share us, but most importantly, stay empowered, stay informed, and Geoff,
stay tuned.
That's right, baby. Stay tuned. Enjoy your weekend. Peace out.